things are getting totally out of control. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Yankee Stacking. We need to talk about the state of our economy as it relates to the prices of goods that you and I are paying right now. And I'll tell you why I'm still a big-time bull on silver and gold over the next few years, not to mention decades. I'm pretty heated about what's going on, and I decided to cool myself down by laying my hands on this cool to the touch silver. Feels so good. I'm done with 90% silver half dollars for a long while. I'm on to silver quarters now, but man, this is awesome. Of course, it's like herding cats. So we got a realistic take of the kind of price increases that we as Americans are dealing with right now. Back on Friday, October 15th, we got the import-export prices from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Maybe you didn't hear about the import-export prices. The CPI is what most people are familiar with. That's what we see in the news all the time. As you probably know, the CPI, or Consumer Price Index, is a really popular measure of inflation. So is the Producer Price Index, or the PPI. Our government and central bank, actually all first world governments and central banks, watch those two inflation metrics carefully. Not to mention retirees too, or any household on fixed incomes. But the CPI is grossly manipulated. You probably know this, right? Things like hedonic regression and goods substitution are what make it largely bogus. One of the most crazy substitutions used with the CPI is that of owner's equivalent rent. Guys, the government figures out how much rents are going up by asking owners what they would charge for rent if they were to rent out their home or a room. That's insane. Rental costs are easily obtainable. Why don't they use them? Why all this crazy substitution with owner's equivalent rent? Well, because it looks bad if you took rent. Rent's going way up. Okay, that's CPI and PPI. The import-export prices are not nearly as manipulated as the CPI and the PPI. In fact, I really don't think they're manipulated at all. The Fed doesn't even look at import-export prices when they're measuring inflation. But this is simply the cost of goods that we bring in and send out of our country. That's it. So what's happened? Well, something big happened. This year, what we charged other countries for our stuff increased year over year by 16.3%. 16.3%. Our exports went up in cost by 16.3%. That is a gargantuan number. Remember, this is the cost of domestic production, the stuff we charge to other countries. But people, if we're charging 16.3% more for stuff we export, don't you think we're charging roughly the same increase for the stuff we don't export? I mean, I'm sure Goodyear is making the same tires for the Japanese that they're making for you and I. And they're selling these products domestically as well. So if it's costing Goodyear 16% more to produce tires that we sell overseas, it's probably safe to bet that it's costing them 16% more to produce tires that we, sell at the local tire warehouse store, right? This is frankly on my mind because I have to put new tires on my wife's car, and I am not looking forward to that purchase. So anyway, this is a reality check, people, for inflation. inflation is much more likely to be over 16% than the 5.4% we saw in September CPI, or the 8.6% we saw in the PPI. CPI at 4%. Yeah, right. But even that highly manipulated CPI of 5.4% is a 30-year high. And if inflation is really over 16%, we're talking a 40-year high. How many of you listening to me can actually remember 1981? I bet less than half of you. All right. All of you know what's going on here, right? Prices are going way up. Shipping rates are up 210% year over year. Food prices are up 33% year over year. Energy costs are up 71% year over year. Housing prices up 20%. These things cannot be denied. They can't be denied by our government or the Fed or market analysts or media pundits. You know, the media was all excited weeks ago that the retail spending by consumers was up. Isn't that great? I mean, shouldn't we all be super excited that the cost of living is going up? Never mind that consumer spending is probably up because it costs more to buy stuff. That retail spending stat is not inflation adjusted. Now, I won't even go into the fact that we are importing so much stuff because we can't produce it ourselves, and that Americans are getting the money to buy all this stuff that we don't produce because of all the currency printing by the Fed, or that shortages in the supply chain are a direct result of this inflation. Nope, won't go there. That would be ranting. Okay. What I will mention is that this inflation that we're experiencing is here and here to stay for a long time. We've entered into what is called stagflation territory, something I said was coming back in March of 2020. GDP was just announced to be an anemic 2%. Employers can't find workers. The initial unemployment benefits were up 281,000 last week from a revised 291,000 a week earlier. Everyone's excited about those numbers. It's lower. It's over 250,000 people filing for unemployment benefits every week. And of course, inflation keeps going up. Guys, that by definition is stagflation. Now, of course, the Fed's got this all under control, right? They can taper their bond purchases anytime they want, right? Of course, they haven't. Oh, they can raise interest rates. They can do a whole bunch of other things. But will they? I don't think it matters. You see, any eventual taper or rate cut by the Fed isn't going to put a dent into what we're experiencing right now. Real interest rates that I actually talked about in a recent video will go much, much higher. And precious metals, silver and gold, are going to eventually take off. Maybe not to the moon, okay? I think that only comes after a fiat dollar collapse. So don't get that wrong, okay? But gold and silver are going much higher. Buy them while you can. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. Thank you for letting me rant just a little bit. Oh, cool silver. Please share it with other people too. All right. I got to go buy tires from Mrs. Yankee, but I hope your day is A-OK.